using z-scores to find the probability of something. Here we're looking at SAT scores. There's 14 million students, roughly normal, with a mean of 2610 and a standard deviation of 209. And we want to know what's the probability of picking one that scored over a 1300. Okay, the first thing we need to do is calculate our z-score. A z-score is going to be x minus x bar over our standard deviation. Okay, now, so what we're going to do is this is our mean, so that's the 1026. Okay, 1300 is what we're looking at. That'll go here, and over our standard deviation, in this case, which is 209. Okay, once we put that in a calculator, we end up with 1.31. So that's how many standard deviations we are away from the mean. But let's go look this value up in our table. Alright, here's our table. You should have one. But anyway, let's scroll down and go to the positive side. Alright, so here we're at 130,131. Okay, so for this is our value at the z-score. Alright, so we found a table value of 0.9049. Well, if we were wanting everything below 1300, or at the most 1300 and everything backwards, we'd be done. That'd be our value. But we're not. We're looking for everything above. So just a little visual here. If this is our curve, basically, alright, that would be our mean, would be somewhere in there. And then basically the 9049 is everything that way. But we want everything this way. So we know that that has to add up to 1. So what we do is we just take that value and subtract 1 from it. Alright, and so our probability here is going to be 0.0951. So the chances of randomly selecting somebody that scored above 1300 is not very likely. Alright, here, using the same information, but this time we're looking at, we want to know what's the chances of picking somebody that scored below 1,000. Alright, so we need a z-score. So let's go ahead and do z is equal to 1,000 minus 1026, all divided by 209. Alright, so we should end up with negative 0.12. Okay, and we'll go look this up in the table. Alright, so our table value should be 0.4522. Okay, now, since we're looking for everything below it, that's what the table gives us. So this would be our probability. So the probability of picking somebody that scored 1,000 or less is 0.45200. Alright, here we're looking for a range. We're looking for a between score. Now, we found the z-scores for both of these. We found the z-score for 1300 and for 1,000. But now we're looking at a range. We want to know what are the chances of picking somebody that scored between 1,000 and 1,300. Alright, so our z-scores are, for this one, it's going to be negative 0.12, and then for this one it's going to be 1.31. We just plug this in the calculator and come out with this, and we did this before. Alright, but our table value for this one is 0.4522. Our table value for this one is 0.9049. Again, we're just getting these from the standard normal probability table that you should all have. Okay, anyway, so to find the probability of selecting somebody in between there, we take the difference between these two numbers. And remember, we always put the bigger one first so that we end up with a positive number. Probability has to be positive. Okay, so we take the difference between these two, and we end up with a probability of 0.4527. So we're not quite at 50, but we're getting pretty close. So the chances of picking somebody that score between 1,000 and 1,300 on the ACT randomly is pretty good. So hopefully this helps you out. Again, make sure you do the essential questions in the other lesson.